He's a former youth pastor at his church up in Ohio. He just recently moved a year or so ago down to the Dallas, Texas area. He's got 5 kids, a lovely wife. He's a good friend of mine. He's also a COC member for 4 years in a row running. He's also been in ACN 9 years. 8 months into ACN, he walked away from his job. 2 years RVP, $100,000 billing, and he's a platinum RVP 4.5 years later. Without further ado, my dear friend from Dallas, Texas area, the great Regional Vice President Platinum, Mr. Steve Payten.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Thank you so much
for
having me in on a call again. And today I got a different shirt. If you guys can see me, let me see. Let me make sure I got my spotlight. I got this at one of the COC meetings a couple years ago. And it says, I don't know if you guys have seen Greg Provenzano where this before. It says, old ways will not open new doors. Old ways will not open new doors. Remember that this entire time while we're on this call. Old ways will not open new doors. So for those that weren't on the call last week, I will introduce myself again. My name is Stephen Payten II, and I got started with ACN, 9 years ago now. And when I got started, I was working in the lawn and garden industry, working a ton of hours, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday. On Sundays, I was a youth pastor, and my youth outings would fall on Sundays. And at the time, I had 4 under 4, and I was working every single day. And my 4-year-old son, said to me, "Daddy, do you sleep with mommy?" And he was saying, "Daddy, do you live here?" Because he would never see me here. And I was sad because, my father, when I was a kid, he was always working, trying to provide for us, being a pizza delivery guy and a custodian. Later on after I graduated high school, he became a teacher. But, and he was going to college at the same time, so very busy. So he didn't get to come to a lot of my sporting events and choir concert and gospel choir concerts and drama club and theater and stuff like that. So I immediately thought that my son was saying that you're never there. And I started praying and looking for something. And the next day, my father-in-law called me, told me to take a look at this business. And I still, after praying, gave him a hard time. I didn't want to go to an event. Well, after a couple months, the only reason why I went to an event was because he guilt-tripped my wife about me, always claiming to be busy. And actually what he said to my wife was, he said, now I told y'all last week, I had to live with him for a second, my in-laws. And what he said to my wife was, he said, "Don't ask us for any more money or any more help." And I lived with him prior to this, a year before this. He said, "Because your husband can't even take a look at this business." And so like, I am getting, I knew that my wife knew that it was urgent. And I said, okay, let me make this happen. So I went to an event just to pay my dues, never intended on getting started, just wanted them to shut up. I definitely didn't want any help from them again. I wanted to show that I could do it on my own, like a man is supposed to be able to do. And I got started. I praise God for humility, because when I saw it, I said, man, I saw the video and stuff. I said, I can blow this thing up. I've never seen anything like this. We can get paid on bills. This is crazy. I mean, I dreamed about, I got started on the spot, and I would think about it every day. Like, man, I can really blow this thing up. And after, like Mr. Thomas said, I think after 8 months, I went full time with the company, never turned back, making $750 a month from the company. But I knew even when I was making $750, it was because I had other executive team leaders in my organization up under me that I wasn't getting paid on. But I had put in the work, and I was getting as an executive team leader, not in my open line, but in my entire team, about 30 to 40 reps a month. So I knew that, man, if I was able to get regional director, it was going to be over. And I did. And I hit regional director and then regional vice president in 27 months. And then 2 years after that went platinum, and then, Circle of Champions. And what I can say is that, because of this company, I've really enjoyed freedom. It's been amazing. Now I have over 7,000 business partners, almost 8,000, and 30,000 customers. And it's all because of the system that's in place with ACN. So good morning. I hope you guys are doing good. I'm excited. I'm going to tell you, this week we started homeschool actually on Labor Day. And it has just been a blessing. My wife made a post about it, and it's crazy. This is my 5 kids and me and my wife, and we have been homeschooling now for 6 years. The minute that I became a regional vice president, actually I became a regional vice president in 2 years, and we sent our kids to a private school. And I thought we sent them to the best private school. I was paying like $5,000 a month for 3 kids. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I was cool with it, but they came home with some stuff that I did not like, and my wife didn't like, and we were talking about it. And the next year we started homeschooling, and it was, a little bit, hard in the beginning, but that was one of our dreams. We want to be able to put into our kids what we want to put into them. And if you guys know me, that was my reason why. So I get to be with them all day, every day. They don't even know what it's like, to not have daddy there. It's so weird. Sometimes I go, like one time we were at a track meet and my sister-in-law came in town, and my mother and father-in-law, and we were at the track meet a couple of months ago. And it was on a Friday at 11 a.m. or it might have been a Thursday or Friday. And, it wasn't, my sister-in-law said, man, it's crazy. It's this many people here on a Thursday. It was a lot of parents that was there, but it was not that many people. And I was like, thinking like, what's the big deal? And she said, because a lot of people have to work. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. I would be at work right now, but I get to be, at the regional track meet with my kids. So that's what I love. And it's because of this amazing company. So I want to show you guys this. And this is, if you guys missed last week, then you got to kind of, read between the lines a little bit. But we talked about belief last week. And this is the belief cycle. And, the belief cycle is something that, I understand thoroughly. And I use when I am talking to my team a lot. So you remember when I told my story last week, and I talked about how I got started and I was making that 750, and I went to the regional event. And after going to that event, my belief went up. Remember, I saw Leah and Gabriel crying, and I was like, man. And she was crying, talking about she was the longest SVP. And I was like, man, I'm taking a long time too, because I wasn't qualified yet. It had been 3 months, and I saw that, and that increased my belief, going to that event. So the amount of potential determines that you tap into determines the amount of action. So what was my action? I immediately got qualified finally that day. I got qualified. I stopped being uncoachable. I got everything through myself. And then I started to get results. I started to be excited because I got the congratulations promotion. So the next week I'm like, okay, I got to have presentations. So I had presentations. And the next week I was an executive team leader. My belief was going up. People joined my business. And in 3 months, I had a couple of presentations. Nobody had joined. But you know what shifted? You know why people join now? Let me ask that question. What changed? Why did people start joining my business? Somebody unmute themselves and tell me what they think. Because all I did was have one person. I had already had.
Your excitement level went up.
Your belief.
My belief. My excitement, my posture on the cause. It was like, they didn't even ask questions. I didn't sound scary or what. My belief was like, you need to get in. You need to do this thing where you need to come to this event. It's something that's about to be crazy. I followed the script. My belief was I can follow the system. My belief made me get the results. So I hit executive team leader. Then the potential went up more. Then more action took place. Then more results. Then I was told to get people to the international, if you guys remember. I got them to the international. My entire team, 14 people, was at the first international, including me. And I had never been to international before. I was just being coachable. And then after the international, we went to work. So my belief went up, more potential, more action. I started doing the business more, spending more time. So I quit my job 8 months, right before hitting regional director. And that's when I told you I was making $750. What I didn't tell you guys is that I would get up. In my mind, I was like, this is a job. Now, I got to work this. I said, if I can work 40 to 60 hours a week, then I need to work my ACN business the same way. And I think that that's the biggest problem with us today, especially with the Zoom and the pandemic and everything that happened. It makes us lazy. Zoom makes us lazy. Like we're not doing that much work on Zoom. It's so much easier, but the accountability that you had to have when somebody was driving to your house is different, where they sat down and made calls with you. You know, now like you may do 1 or 2 Zooms a week. That's not going to get you the results. So what happened for me was I would wake up and get up early in the morning at 7 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock, I didn't know, I didn't really have a system yet. I went to the international. My mentor was all the way in California, and he wasn't even my mentor yet. And then my other mentor was in Cincinnati, 4 hours away. So all I knew was that my mentor, before I told him, after I went to that meeting with Gabriel, he did a presentation for me that week. I hit ETO the next week. From ETO, this is somebody who would have been a regional vice president by the standards right now. I told him, I said, don't come back. He was a top producer in the company. I said, you don't have to come back anymore. I said, don't come back. We don't need you. I wasn't about to presentations every Friday and wait for him. Like I had some momentum. I had a couple of people that got started, and that was just stupid to me. I said, we could do it on our own. You know, we appreciate you. You know, when we do something bigger, we'll have you come out. That was just my mindset. And I felt like I had my team, and I felt like, you know, he wasn't aggressive enough at the end when closing people. That's how I felt. You know, I felt like that. I felt like it wasn't getting the job done, and they needed to know how simple this business was. And, you know, some momentum took off after that. So I would get up at 7, and from 8 to 5, I would go to different plazas and peak people. I didn't have a system. I didn't know any better. All I had was belief. And what I can tell you is that wasn't the right thing to do, but when your belief is high and your faith is high, nothing is going to stop you. So because it wasn't the right way, I would literally be peaking people. I would go to a plaza, and the plaza would have like a Home Depot, a Walmart, some stores, and I would just go in there, and then, you know, somebody would talk to me or I would talk to them, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to go to this plaza today. So I would go to the mall, you know, the next day. I would switch it up and go different places. I'm talking about driving 30, 45 minutes away, you know, driving, you know, 30, 45 miles away, because in Ohio, it's a lot different than the West. And I would just peak people. And then I would follow up and call them, you know, at 6, 7 o'clock at night, calling them to invite them to an event. You know, it's funny because Mr. Antonio Churn, he's one of my regional vice presidents on my team. And he sent me this emoji or whatever it's called. And it said, he was joking. He sent it to me, you know, like 2 weeks ago. He said, it says, don't let your friends invite somebody you don't know to your house without asking you. And he would laugh because what I would do was I had all these people and I would meet people. And when I would meet them, I would invite them to my PBRs or to their PBRs. And I invited somebody to his house. And if you guys meet him, he is not like that. He don't like, you know, to meet new people like that. And I invited somebody to his house, and he would get upset, like, I can't believe you invited this person to my house. I said, Antonio, I said, you know, I got the Holy Spirit. I'm not gonna just invite anybody to your house. You know, if I felt good in my spirit, and he's like, I don't care about your spirit right now. You know, these people can't be coming to my house, but they got in. You know, I would invite them. I didn't really have a system. My system was everybody needs to have presentations, and the people that I'm having, you know, or I'm meeting, I need to get them in front of their business and then get them to the Saturday training for second exposure. And it worked, you know. And then in a couple of weeks, in 3 weeks, I was able to hit the position of regional director. My belief goes up. It worked. Now, this is what's crazy about it. So, because I gotta help y'all understand this belief. My belief was so high. Listen closely. So this is what's crazy about it. I'm gonna pull back the belief cycle up. That I had a conversation from my mentor, Jeff, that was in Cincinnati. He called me. He said, Steve, he called me when I quit my job. I quit my job. I told him I quit my job. I was all in with ACN. And he said to me, he said, Steve, you know, I believe you're gonna really hit this. And I called Efren Tejada. He was my regional vice president at the time. He said, I told Efren Tejada, you're about to hear regional director. It was called team coordinator at the time. And he said, he's going to contact you. I was like, oh, wow. Now I had met him one time, you know, at an event in Cincinnati, and I was excited. And listen closely. So y'all know what it takes to get the team coordinator. I had in one leg, I had 13 points. In another leg, I had 7 points. And in my third leg, which was Antonio Churn's leg, I had like 400 points. That's what all my momentum was. I had made money and, you know, in that leg. And I quit my job, making $750 a month with that. Actually, it wasn't even $750 a month. It was like $750 back-to-back months. So for 2 months. And I had that, but I just knew that I was about to hit the position. And the international was in June, and I had 3 weeks to go. And I quit my job, and I told y'all what I was doing, you know, talking to people. And I had my own list too, my warm market. I called everybody I knew, and I was calling. So I remember I was going to a regional vice president's training named Corey Anderson, and I had never spoke. He was like, you know, Michael Jackson or something to me. Like, he was a big deal. They had, you know, he was in Success Magazine. I had looked him up. You know, one of my team members that was a CPA, looked him up, and he had made $3 million that year. So I was like, oh snap! I was like, so this guy, you know, so I had never spoke to him in the 8 months I had been in the business. I went to him. I said, hey, Mr. Anderson. I said, I have 21 guests today, this Saturday. I said, can I speak, please? I'm an executive team leader. And he let me speak. And then when I spoke, I said, and I'm going to be regional director by the international. Everybody, the whole room was like, you know, like it was a big deal. I'm like, why are they making it a big deal? I figured out later why it was a big deal. It's because they didn't have that many at that position, and it was taking them years to do it. And I was like the new baby. So then the next week, same thing, did the same thing. I had 17 guests, okay? And it was picking up, you know, my points was picking up. Never got a call from Efren Tejada. Then the third week, you know, I was so sad because I knew that my system was working. We had, you know, Efren Tejada coming into town and Mike Basutti into Ohio. And those are my, you know, Efren Tejada is my upline, and Mike Basutti was one of his legs. So they like cousins for me in the business. So it was a big deal. It was edified. And I had to travel 4 hours away to my upline, my mentor's event in Cincinnati. And I was so sad. I promoted it to my team, and we got a couple of ETO trophies and stuff that day. It was good that we got promoted, but I was sad. But I went to Ohio State, which is in Columbus, which is 2 hours away from Cleveland. It's right in the middle of Cleveland and Cincinnati. And I invited people, and I called, you know, everybody I knew, and I got 11 confirmations for that. So I shook Mr. Tejada's hand, I shook Mr. Basuti's hand, and I still didn't get a phone call. They didn't know who I was, whatever. But from that right there, from those 3 weeks in a row, I told y'all what I had. So when you have 400 points, just so you know, only 200 count. So I literally essentially needed 400 points in 3 weeks to get to regional director after quitting my job. How crazy was that? And the next week was the international. On Thursday night, I got my alert in the middle of the night. My phone started ringing and vibrating for that position. I woke up. I was like, and my wife was next to me. I was like, babe. I said, I hit the position, and we started crying. You know, it was like, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and we started crying about it because it was, a lot of emotions. I mean, I made a really, really, really big move. But what do you think happened? What do you think happened? My belief went up. My belief went up. I went to international. This international, I took over 50 people to this international. Now, my belief went up. The potential went up. Action went up. Results went up. I came back home. It was in the middle of June, so I had 2 weeks left. I only made $2,000, but I told you I was getting like 30 reps. And I made $2,000 and I only got like 10 reps. And I was really sad. I was like, dang, man. I'm talking about for that month total. I was like, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I was broke. I made $2,000. I told y'all I had to pay $1,500 for for my mortgage, plus the other bills, and 4 kids and 1 on the way. Efren Tata called me for the first time. Hey, congratulations, Stephen. He said, congratulations on the position, on your promotion. He said to me, now, you're a leader. He said, you're a leader. You did this without any help. He said, you're a leader. He said, I can help you become a President's Club member. I can help you become a top producer. How would you like that? I said, I would love it. I was just happy you all was on the call with me. And he said, I'm gonna tell you a secret. He said, in ACN, they always say, this get rich quick. He said, people say that it's not get rich quick. He said, that's a lie. He said, I know people making $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $30,000, brand new like you a month. He said, would you like that? I said, yes. That's what I need. I said, I'll do whatever you tell me, And he said, I want you to come to Las Vegas tomorrow. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna fly to Las Vegas? And then he said, and I want you to book the Bellagio Hotel. That's where we're gonna be. I said, okay. I said, I'm there, I'll do it. I had no money. So I called my cousin Greg Borden, he's an RVP now. He was my second business partner. And I called him and I borrowed some money. The Bellagio Hotel was like $400 a night at the time. So I had to pay for that for 3 nights. And I had to pay for the event and for the flight and stuff. But I made it happen. I got down there and I came back home afterwards, just taking note, just a regular event, with some RVPs talking. It was just like a regional event, like a leadership. It was a leadership. It wasn't an international or nothing, because the international had just happened. And I had already spent my money at that international. I was already broke. I told y'all what I was making. And I went to that event and I came back home fired up again. Remember, this is another event. I took notes. I would have like camps with my team, events, and saying, this is how we got to do things. I had a system for the first time in my life. It was over. I knew that we needed to have PBRs every day. I knew the ACN system. My belief went up. My potential went up. I went into action. I told everybody what we had to do and how they missed out on this event. And from now on, we need to go to events. They should never miss out, because I need more people fired up like me, more results. And then I made 10 grand that month. The next month I made 12 grand. The next month I made 14 grand. Then I made 15 grand. Then I made 15 grand again. And this is all at that position that's called regional director. And my belief continued to go up. More potential, more action, more results. Then I went from from 15 grand to a regional director to I was making every month as a regional director for that next year, $20,000 to $30,000 a month, every month. Never made anything less as a regional director. And I used my residual got all the way up. My first residual check was $13.11 when I got it. I didn't get it until, because I was uncoachable. I didn't get it until my second year, until 2013. So I started in July. So I had no residual all the way through that year. Remember, 3 months I didn't do nothing. I didn't go to my first international until February of the next year, 2013. So by the end of that first year, my residual was only $120, which was still good. I was happy. I was more excited about my $13.11 residual than the 120. The next year, I'm still a regional director. My residual got all the way up to $2,800 as a regional director. And, you know, I hit RVP. And when I hit regional vice president, my residual was $5,000. And, you know, it was great. It was crazy. Then, so what was special about my residual, I'm telling you guys this to build your belief. Okay. I know I'm telling these stories for a reason. All right. So I hit regional vice president. And when I hit regional vice president, whenever I get a promotion, my kids know, my wife knows, we going to Disney World, just like Tom Brady. So we went to Disney World. And while we were in Disney World, my first week in Disney, I made 10 grand. My second week in Disney, I made 10 grand without me being there. I'm like, dang, like, I'm a real leader, like, because my team is doing this without me. I said, what could I do with them? And the company announced Platinum Regional Vice President because it wasn't out when I got started. And I was like, oh, wow. I was like, man, I'm gonna get home and get to work. I thought at RVP I was gonna chill. That was my plan. But I was like, no, I gotta get to this platinum. I got to platinum 2 years later, and my first platinum check was about $11,000. I actually went to the RVP trip, and I was only in business for 4 years, and I saw Al Thomas there. I don't know if you remember, but I showed you my platinum check. You remember it? You remember I showed you on the bus? I showed him platinum check, and I showed him like, I know Al Thomas check is crazy. You know, he didn't show me his. I wish he would have, but I'm gonna go stay with him next month. So maybe he'll show me. But he didn't show me his, and I showed him mine. And I promise you, he was like, it made me feel special. And he wasn't even doing it, he was being authentic. He's like, oh my goodness, wow. He's like, I can't believe it. And he was showing everybody, you know, he had brought some team members, he was showing everybody how big he's like, this guy only been in the business for 4 years. And my platinum check was $14,000. This was years ago. This was, you know, 4 years into the I've been in for 9 years now. So you guys can do the math on now. And I've never lost momentum. Glory to God, you know. So what does that do? Belief, more potential, more action, more results. And I'm gonna tell you what my belief is now. My belief is I want to help other people receive this. You know, I want other people to get what I got. I really believe that if I can do it, anybody can do it. If someone getting started with this business, doing lawn care can do it, fertilizing and weed control with no type of experience in this whatsoever, I really believe that if I can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And I need to show this business to everybody. So I'm always talking about the business, always exposing people to business because my belief is so high. And I want them to want to change their life and have more freedom. You know, that's a part of my vision and the impact vision. And the impact vision is, you know, it got started with me seeing, you know, homeless people, you know, at Ohio State. You know, I would just go and I would walk over homeless people and I would be sad about it. And, you know, one of my vision is that, you know, we are able to distribute our wealth amongst each other and make a difference in the communities and stuff like that and not wait for something to happen. You know, I get women all the time that get started, single moms saying, man, I need to talk to your wife. You know, I need to know how to be a better mother. You know, a young man getting started. I just want to help people do better. And I believe that, you know, the Bible says money is the answer to all things. With that finances, that people can do more, but also have more time for ministry, making a difference, making an impact. In the book of Acts, that they distributed their money and wealth amongst each other, and they were able to go out and make a difference. So people get started with ACN and they think, oh, I'm gonna make some money. But if you guys can even hear by the way I talk, I'm trying to get you changed as a person so that you can help other people, period. And I want people to have a relationship with Jesus Christ, all of that. So with that being said, guys, I hope your belief is up, because that's going to help, with you going out and going to go make difference, having a potential, having more action and having the results, and I wanted you guys to borrow my belief today. And the reason why I wanted you guys to borrow I know that it works to borrow somebody else's belief, because it worked for me when I saw Leah and Gabriel that day. And I also use a Bible reference. All right. So in the Bible, do you know how crazy this is? That Peter was beheaded. No, Peter was nailed to a cross upside down. He's a disciple of Jesus Christ. John the Baptist was beheaded. They all were tortured and killed, okay, for saying that Jesus Christ rose again from the dead. Now listen, this is what's crazy. Now, the facts are in the history books, even if you don't believe, you don't have to, I'm not trying to make you believe, but in the history books, it's a fact that Jesus Christ lived, okay? And all of other religious books that you study, even the ones that are not Christian books, they say that Jesus was without sin, okay? And that he performed all those miracles. So these are all facts, okay, in the history book. The only thing that's not a fact that takes faith, did he really raise from the dead? So after raising from the dead, he saw the disciples. So listen, could you imagine you about to be persecuted? They about to kill you. And they say to you, hey, did you really see Jesus Christ raised from the dead? Or did you move that stone? What would you say? You about to die. If your belief got to be real high. What am I going to say? If I wasn't 100% sure, I'm going to be like, well, actually, I didn't see him, but Andrew told me that, I'm not about to be nailed to no cross. I'm not about to be beheaded or anything. Are you kidding me? I'm not about to go through this if I wasn't 100% sure. Their belief was so high in their potential and their action that they were willing to do whatever it took, because they knew the truth. They had walked with them. They had saw the miracles. They saw him do everything. They knew he was the Son of God. And the other Jews didn't believe, but they were Jews. They knew that he was the Son of God. So their belief went up to do what? Spread the gospel so big that is the biggest team, the biggest downline to this day. All right. It's the biggest downline, because their belief was so high. So I borrowed the disciples' belief. I borrowed the apostles' belief, because I believe that same thing. But I wasn't there like them, but I borrowed their belief. So that's what I want. Y'all weren't there with me, but you can borrow my belief and do great things in this business. So what do we got to do? What do we got to do now, right now? What's the call to action? I'm going to show y'all this. This is the call to action. It is a bonus in place for the month of September. This is crazy to me, the September bonus. And the first part of the bonus is this. Now, I know some of you guys are out west, but you guys got to get this in your head, okay? And this is what I love about Efren Tejada so much, okay? He's built my belief with this. So for every 3 energy bills, $150. Now, I'm going to tell y'all the truth. My organization, I promoted a regional director in 3 months from North Carolina. 3 months. She's our record breaker. She got started during the pandemic a couple months ago. And she got started and was able to get the regional director in 3 months in North Carolina. It's not an energy market. Okay. My hottest team right now is in Missouri, is in Kansas City. His name is Leon Woods. He's an ETO. He's about to hit regional director. Again, not an energy market. But the good thing about Zoom is that those are my 2 hottest teams. That's crazy. Not Ohio right now. It's crazy. But they know people that know people in energy markets. Now, when I get somebody and they make a list, it's not like you make a list and then we call people and then we can only call people in Ohio where that's close and then we go to the PVR. You call and write down everybody. You know, I got somebody got started yesterday or a couple of days ago, and she said to me, she said, well, I know people in Missouri and I know people in Maryland. I said, call them. We're calling every single person. Like, we're not just calling people in Ohio, we're calling everybody. So look, the one thing about Mr. Tejada is he always would tell me, he would say, Steven, what if you knew somebody that was Hispanic and they knew somebody in Colombia? And he would show me the billing. He got in Colombia, he was able to, the first day that Colombia opened, he got 700 new business partners the day Colombia opened. He was like, and he sent me, and he said, could you imagine being this executive team leader? He sent it to me. You know, they had no clue that this was going to happen. And the company got 15,000 new people. But for me, that's how I would be thinking if I were you. It doesn't, don't, if you're not in the energy market, you should still be aggressive. And I would say that. Do you know anyone in Ohio? Do you know anyone in Maryland? Do you know anyone in Michigan and in Illinois in the energy markets? Okay, they do. Because that person could be, Mr. Title's in California, I'm in Ohio. Would you love to have, a $500,000 billing and he didn't have anything to do with me? That can happen for you, okay? So this is crazy. You get 3 energy bills, that's $150. It costs $200 to get started. This means talk to everybody because this is not going to be here for long. I can tell you that. They don't play it. Whenever they do Zoom bonus, it never lasts long. I'm telling you. From my experience of being in ACN, and I got started during the Zoom era. So I got started when they opened up with energy. That's the year I got started. We didn't even have electricity in Ohio when I got started. We got it a year later. Okay. And look at this. And this is what I got this lady in the business, and we did her meeting. She had to put on a credit card. She didn't have any money. Can y'all hear me? Say my internet's unstable. Okay. And this was a couple of days ago. And yesterday I got her husband in the business. And this is what I said to her. I said, so when she got started, he didn't want to see me. He didn't want to get on Facebook or nothing. I said, wow. I said, listen, I said, your husband don't believe that this will work because she's done a lot of network marketing before and it never worked. I said, we're going to have to, change his belief. Okay. She had her presentation and, got some people that want to get started. So the next day she was still excited from that. She had her presentation and she had her presentation on Labor Day. And I forgot that it was a big deal on Labor Day, but she had 15 confirmations and everybody was doing stuff and they ended up doing stuff. So only 2 people got on the call, but she was happy because after talking to everybody still wanted to do the bit to see the business. So I said, okay, I see her excitement. I said, we need to get your husband in the business. And this is what I told her. And this is a nugget for y'all. This is how this bonus works. Because if you see it, if you see the 425, you're like, oh, that's not that much, the $500. But I said, if Melissa gets in the business, we're gonna put them up under your husband. Okay. And between Melissa and your husband, if they're able to get 15 points, and this makes you a ETL, this makes you 425 and can make your husband 425 just from the work that Melissa does, as long as he's qualified. That. So it's like you can really cheat the system, by putting or double dip the system, or however you want to say it, by putting people up under people to get these bonuses. Again, that's going to increase belief. Okay. So I always get the spouse in and I leverage this. All right. So the purpose of me showing you guys this, and then you guys know, every 3 services after you get your 5 is $200 unlimited. Okay. So, yeah. So this is the bonus over there. And I show this to people. So that's your money back. So there has never been a time like this. So the international is coming up. I told you I went from 50, and I could show y'all pictures of the international and how my team grew and grew and grew. You know, the next international, I had a couple hundred people. Now my goal was to have more people than Mr. Tejada had. That was my goal. And I took over the leadership that we will have, the pet rally. I took over. It was mostly impact. And that was my goal. You know, I wanted to do it because I realized something that was important, that events could do for you and your team what you can't do. That's what I noticed. I wanted leaders. Without leaders, there's no leverage in ATN. You're doing linear income still. You're doing all the work if you don't have leaders. I had leaders when I went to Florida, okay? That's the key. I have leaders now. You know, during this pandemic, I promoted so far 12 regional directors, and I have RVPs popping in the next, 60 to 90 days. Or actually, I got one popping in the next week. So, and it's during the pandemic, and it's because I get people to events. I don't know, y'all should look it up on Facebook. Maybe I can find it real quick on my phone. But we had an event, the biggest event since the pandemic. We had almost 400 people in Cleveland. It got people so excited. This is a month ago, that they decided to have regionalized internationals because our event was so big, okay? Because I know how to get people to the events, okay? So what we need to do is we have this, the international coming up. You want to get numbers to that event. Be aggressive, whatever you got to do. You want to get people on that big call, on that Zoom. So you got to have presentations now. I showed y'all the bonus and tried to explain it a different way so that you can increase your belief. You got to tell everybody. Everybody needs to relaunch their business and start making a brand new list. I'm making a list. I told my wife, I'm about to have another presentation. I had a presentation a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna keep having them because I'm being aggressive. It's too much fruit hanging out there. With this, I'm fear of loss. I want to get as much billing. I have 600,000 in billing from energy customers alone. So I'm like, man, I need to get more energy. I'm like, I could do that right now by taking advantage of this 3 for $150. So for you guys, I would say schedule presentations, make a new list. It's the basics. You got to do it. Don't just listen to my story. Don't just get on these calls. Don't be foolish. Don't waste your time. There's no point to get on these calls if you're not going to get results. It's no point if you're not going to move into action. I don't want you to get emotional. I don't want you to get excited. I want you to do the work. And I want you to message me and say, hey, thank you so much. Because of your conversation, I got this many reps. And then from getting this many reps, I got 20 people, 30 people to the international. And then after the international, guess what happened? I hit regional director. Guess what happened? I hit regional vice president. That's what I want to hear because that's what's supposed to happen. The system works, but you got to work it. You got to get people on that call. And it's a couple of weeks away. You still have time. You have time. You should have a goal, to get whatever, 2 reps this week, 5 reps next week. And then, 7 reps the week after that. And use that. And this is what happens. When you have the Zoom, you gotta run your business. Forbes say, if you don't drive your business, you'll be driven out of business. So you got to drive your business. So, if you have a presentation and there's 10 people on the call and, 2 people got started and then 8 people are thinking about it or become a customer, get them, at least 6 of the 8, 5 of the 8, get them registered for the international. Get them registered for that event. That's what I do. Be aggressive. When we're having this event, get them registered for that event. You want to be aggressive, have aggressive numbers. Everybody's goal on here should be at least 20, because it's so cheap. Every international, I would pay for people $150, almost $200, and pay for plane tickets. I had a budget. I would tell my wife, all right, this is how many people I'm paying for. And I would always spend a couple of $1,000. I'm talking about even when I was broke, spending for people. And it never came back void. They always either got a lot of customers or became leaders or introduced me to a leader because they got fired up and they feel like, okay, I got to actually do the system now. So then some people I'm thinking of right now that didn't do anything, you know, but I paid for her it was crazy, but I was just so aggressive, man. I was trying to hit RVP. And I paid for her to go to the international. Her father had passed. She said she still wanted to go. So she went to Alabama. So I paid for her to go from Alabama to the international in Charlotte for just Sunday. She didn't go Friday or Saturday because the funeral was that weekend. I said, if you want to go, I'll still pay for you, because she was hot. She was getting, you know, like 15, 20 reps a month. And she came back, she didn't do nothing. It was a little too devastating, but she was fired up. She came back, got some reps, got some business partners, and introduced me to someone who's a regional director right now on my team, you know? So nothing, it doesn't fall on board. So be aggressive, schedule these presentations, get people to the international. I'm telling you, this is how you do it. If I could do it, anybody can do it. But you got to get leaders. You got to follow the system, and you got to put in the work. All right. So I hope this conversation helps you guys. Again, thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, for allowing me to get on the call and speak to your team. I really count it as a privilege, and I really love you guys, for real. I do. I really want you to have success. I want you to succeed. Everybody, you know, if you win, we all win. The more people that win, the more credibility to the company, the more money that the company makes, the more that they give us. You know, it's just win-win. It's good. And hearing stories and stuff like that allows of you having success. It makes it easier for us to promote it and get other people that can hear those stories and have success also. We need new stories, new people winning in the business. That's what's going to keep the new people motivated. So I need guys to step up and turn up. So thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. God bless.